Just a wonderful, wonderful thing to have you all here. And I hope that for each and every one of you, this is going to be an experience which helps move you forward in your path to wherever it is you're going. And we hope that for many of you, where you're going is into our profession. That's the whole idea. And we're here to welcome you to that. All right. So before we get started, I have to do a little business, which is, of course, to thank all our sponsors, because this doesn't happen without the help of a lot of people. This year, we're sponsored by Purdue University, our host, Washington University in St. Louis, the National Science Foundation, the National Security Agency, and the American Mathematical Society. We also have partnership agreements for the Alliance, and that contributes to everything the Alliance does, including this conference. And those partners are Purdue University, Washington University, the University of Minnesota, who's a brand new partner. Thank you. Thank you for that, University of Minnesota, and the University of Iowa. And then many of our graduate program groups and a couple of other graduate programs contribute to the running of the Alliance too as members, and they're all listed on the sheet in the program, and we'll be recognizing them also throughout the day and throughout the weekend. So right now I want to turn it over to our director. By the way, I'm David Goldberg. I'm the executive director of the Alliance. And this is Phil Kutzko. He's the director, and he's going to tell you a little bit more about what's going to happen today and in the future.
Good morning. Is it working? Yeah, good. So I'm very happy to see you all each time. This is the 12th one, I guess, and it's been going on for a long time. I should also be sure to introduce my colleague Bill Velez, who's here. He's going to speak to you in a little time. David keeps calling me the director, but I think of myself as the senior advisor, and that David is a true boss now. But there's something that we're going to do slowly, and I just want to let you know how happy we are that David has taken the reins on this job, and what a tremendous job he's done over the last couple of years. And maybe you give him a hand at this point, because he's just... Thank you.
Very kind of you.
And also, although David mentioned it, I don't think we can ever describe fully how grateful we are to Purdue University for being a major sponsor of this program. It's the first. We had been an NSF grant. We moved to Purdue, and Purdue has been a wonderful home for the Alliance. I'd like to give them a hand as well. Okay, so this part of our time here is going to be about the present state of the Alliance. And so I thought I'd start, for many of you who were yet in grade school when we started doing this, I thought I'd give you a little bit of background about how the Alliance started and the direction we're going in now, which I'm very, very excited about. The Alliance started as a program at the University of Iowa and the other two Iowa schools. And the reason is that the University of Iowa was already having a lot of success in working with minority students to get PhDs. And we realized that what we were doing was a good thing, and that it would be good to make it national. And at that time, we were funded by the National Science Foundation, and we turned to them and asked them if we could build this alliance. So the original start was 3 graduate programs, 2 doctoral programs, University of Iowa, Iowa State University, and a master's program, the University of Northern Iowa, and maybe 100 mentors. That is to say, your faculty at mostly 4-year schools. That was the original structure, and it's grown and grown and grown. But the principles have been the same, which is to say that we have good doctoral programs that we work with very closely. We have wonderful, wonderful mentors, over 800 now, and around the country. And these mentors pick all of you, so you all have mentors coming in. And then we have our transition program that we call FGAP that goes from undergrad to graduate. And that's pretty much, we have master's programs. You know all about it. And as I've said, it's grown and grown and grown. From the beginning, and this is very important that you all know, because we're going to talk about that all the way through the conference, we've had an emphasis not just on mathematics, but on all of the mathematical sciences, which includes statistics and biostatistics at the very beginning. And as I'm going to tell you, that's expanded even further. So it's very important that you know, especially some of you from 4-year schools, that there's a whole world out there beyond mathematics that you're very qualified for. Some people, for example, would believe that you can't go into biostatistics unless you have biology. That's false, for example. Some people believe you can't go into a statistics graduate program unless you've had undergraduate statistics. Also false. So I hope you'll be asking about this and going to all the different tables, not just in mathematics. Now, I'm a mathematician, David is a mathematician, and Bill is a mathematician, but the very point that I'm making is that we know that that's not the whole world, and we want you to be sure to check those other programs. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. Now, as we grew, we began to think about ways that we could continue to grow and build on what we had. And one of the things that we've done, there are two things, but one of them that we've done recently is we now have what we call members and partners. So the members are departments of math sciences around the country, and I think that may be expanding beyond the math sciences soon. And they support our programs, and most of them are doctoral program groups. And so they're also well involved with us. Those are the programs that have the really good PhD programs. But more recently, and this is what I'd like to tell you about, we have partners. And I want you to keep an eye on them when you go around to the tables and stuff. We have four university partners. As David mentioned, Purdue University, Washington University, University of Iowa, where this all started, and now Minnesota, University of Minnesota, that we're very proud to welcome as a new partner. And give them a hand as well, because we're very happy to have them here. Now, the way the partnerships work, and this is, give us a second. Okay, so the way these partnerships work is that all of the programs at a given university that have quantitative sciences. Now, what I mean is, for example, engineering, economics, other programs in business, finance, for example. You can name as well as I can, computational biology. There's a whole new world out there now that is around computational sciences. Most important, data science, which you all know about, they call big data. So that's also something that you all want to look at. And these universities, all of the departments and programs at those universities that are eager to have highly trained students in quantitative science are going to be here and those partners represent us. So that's something we're really looking forward to expanding. We expect to add 2 or 3 more partners every year. And those are universities that you can count on, that they have a deep commitment to what we're doing, and that they're working with us to improve their best practices and extend everything we do to the quantitative sciences. So that's a big theme of us this year, and I wanted to stress that. The other one that I'm very pleased with is, in the math world, math sciences world, we have a bunch of what are called math sciences institutes. And we now, I think it's fair to say, have a partner among those math sciences institutes, also up at the University of Minnesota, and it's called the IMA, which is the Institute for Mathematics and Its Applications. And you're going to be hearing about this as we go through the program, but in fact, we have an agreement with them now where this summer, any of you that are in the FGAP program, any of you who are going to be going on to graduate school and are going to become part of this program, have the opportunity, if you're at a 4-year school, a school without a doctoral program, to go up to Minnesota and to learn firsthand, and your mentor with you, about these opportunities outside of mathematics, because that's what they do up there. So there'll be statistics, there'll be all kinds of computational science, and so we're very pleased to announce that we'll have that this summer, and you'll be hearing more about that. So I think, if I'm not sure, I think I've covered the big things. I just add to you that from the beginning, this program has been about you. It's been about our students. And one of the things that we're most pleased about, and we hope that you'll take full advantage of, is this is your opportunity, number one, to network. We have wonderful people here. For example, we have people from ExxonMobil that you can get to talk to. So there'll be people from industry, there'll be people from universities. But you want to become good consumers. This is the major point that we've said from the beginning. So when you go to our panels, listen closely as to what you should look for either in a graduate program or in industry. Ask questions when you go to the table. Say, are you going to support us? What are the opportunities we have? How many people pass your qualifying exams? Ask those sharp questions. Don't ever go to a graduate program unless you know what's going on. And then ask them to contact you again and ask them to maybe invite you, hopefully, to their program. So be sure that you're good consumers. There are many programs here that will do almost anything to find a good student that they can work through, because they're committed, as we are, to changing the nature of our professions to be completely inclusive and to make sure that everybody has a seat at the table. So be sure you go around and talk to them. That's the purpose of the conference. And I also look forward to seeing all of you. So I guess that's all I have to say. Thank you.
As usual, I have a couple more things to say. Just to pick up on one thing Phil said is programs other than mathematics, do not think that you cannot go to those programs. We just had a student, I think last year, finish a degree in economics, PhD degree in economics, and get a first job as a tenure track assistant professor at one of the big universities in the Southeast Conference. And she took 0 economics classes as an undergraduate. Okay. So, and for instance, the deans of business school are always asking me where they can find students who are quantitatively trained, even if they don't know anything about finance or economics. Okay. And they also like to remind me how much money you make when you get one of those degrees. So, so just really to emphasize what Phil said, that's a really important point. Now, I also have a couple other pieces of business that I forgot to mention. First of all, we should make a point of, and actually now that I'm doing it, none of them are in here, but to thank the staff of the hotel who worked very, very hard to make everything happen, and we'll recognize them again when they're here. But please let them know that you appreciate what they do. And also the staff that we have working for us, the Alliance. Rebecca, of course, most of you have been communicating with Rebecca. Rebecca works all year to make this happen, and it wouldn't be what it is without her. And we have someone from Purdue Conferences, Whitney, who is also helping out a lot. And of course, we have volunteers like Phil's wife, Barbara, Billy and Speedy Townsend. And again, we couldn't do this without them. And the last thing is just based on our prior experience here, I just want to say that the hotel is very happy to have you all here. Okay? Very happy to have you all here. Okay? But remember, it is a hotel. Okay? So they say that down here in this area, and all like the areas around the first floor, you want to make as much noise as you want, that's fine. But, up in the rooms, especially say after 9 o'clock, remember that there are old people like us who need our sleep. It's not even beauty sleep anymore, right? So we just need sleep. All right. So just they're happy to have you party down here as much as you want, but try and keep it down up in the rooms. Well, okay. As much as I could think you might want. How's that? Okay. So. Okay. Well, with that, I'd love to turn everything over to our colleague Bill Velez, who is going to tell us about a wonderful new program available to undergraduates. Oh, one more thing. I did want to emphasize about the program at Institute for Mathematics and its Applications, IMA, next summer. That will be for students who are starting FGAP, hopefully late this year or early next year. So those of you who are in FGAP this year, unfortunately, we didn't have that program for you. This will be new for the new FGAP students who will be thinking about going to grad school in 2020. Okay. And so Bill's going to tell us about this.
Also say, if you don't know about FGAP,
yeah.
If you don't know about FGAP, if you go to our website and you look under, it's under what? Anyway, go to the website. I know. I think it's under mentors.
It's under mentors.
Yes, go to the website and pull down the pull-down menu under mentors, and you'll see FGAP. So especially those of you who are going to be our juniors now, especially, or starting a master's program, going to be finishing up, anyone who's going to be finishing up in 2020, you want to be sure to read that and learn about the opportunities. And if your mentor doesn't come to you, which they should, then you go to your mentor and say, I want to be part of this program. Okay. And now,
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, we're sure. I'm turning off the mic. How's that?
Good morning. Can you hear me? Is the mic on? Wonderful. Yes. When I was a child, someone would come into our home. My mother would say, "Saluda, mijito." Say hello, my son. I'd like to remind you that while you're here, take my mother's advice. Say hello to each other. Introduce yourselves. It is very important to establish a network of friends and professors that you know as you pursue this profession. So I want to talk about an exciting new development, and I want to begin by mentioning that there are two semester abroad programs that students in mathematics can apply to. There is the Budapest Semesters in Math, a very well-known program, and the Math in Moscow program. Both of these programs offer mathematics courses taught in English so that U.S. students can apply to them. When I've been on the panel to review candidates for the National Science Foundation Graduate Fellowship Programs, one of the things that you see is a large number of those applicants have participated in one of these two programs. So having this opportunity to spend a semester abroad not only is a wonderful educational experience, but it also promotes your mathematical career. So if you look at the Budapest Semesters program, for example, you will notice that the tuition is $12,000 per semester, plus travel and living expenses. So that adds probably another $6,000 to that bill. I only know of one minority student from my department who has gone to that program. The other one is the Math in Moscow. Their tuition is $9,000 per semester. And again, you have to have travel, you have to pay for travel and living expenses. And again, that adds probably at least another $6,000. Both of these programs really are for advanced students. So the Budapest Semesters is famous for its work in discrete mathematics, and they require advanced calculus and proof-based courses. And the Math in Moscow, of course, also offers only advanced courses, and they want advanced calculus and linear algebra. That, by the way, means that many U.S. students can't apply to these programs because it is typical that students will take these advanced courses in their senior year. So there is a new program that is starting in August of 2019. It's called Mathematical Sciences in Guanajuato. It's going to start in August of 2019. Their tuition is $5,000 per semester, plus travel and living expenses, and it is relatively inexpensive to live in the city of Guanajuato in Mexico. And the requirements for this program are 3 semesters of calculus and linear algebra. So that means that sophomores can apply. So to give you an idea of where Guanajuato is, there's a map of Mexico. You can see Mexico City, and a little bit to the north of it is the state of Guanajuato. And Guanajuato is actually named Guanajuato in the state of Guanajuato in Mexico. If you look at the brochure that I handed out earlier, I'd like you to look at the 3rd page to see what the topics are. So this program is essentially in applied mathematics, and the fall semester is going to be in mathematical tools for modeling. So you can see what the topics are. All right. Modeling with differential geometry, linear algebra, probability, modeling dynamics, complex variables, algebra. In the spring semester, it's on data science. So again, you can see what the topics are: algorithms, numerical optimization, probability and statistics, discrete mathematics, geometric and graphing tools. And they're also going to have a summer program in partial differential equations. So I think that this is going to be a very exciting program. And it's typical of the programs of study that we have here in the United States. 14 weeks of instruction. So it's a sort of a typical program. Of course, they will, like all of these programs, are going to help you in find accommodations. Now the question is, how do we find funds to attend this program? Well, first of all, I wanted to point out a new program run by Ken Ono at Emory University, right? It's called the Spirit of Ramanujan Awards, and these award you a one-time award of $5,000. So this presentation is going to be on the website for this conference. There's the link to it. Those of you who are faculty in particular, please look at it. There's also, of course, NSF. And I looked at their website, and they say that they're not accepting proposals for the STEM program, but they will come online in about a year. For any of you that come from Hispanic serving institutions, there are initiatives to provide support for students at these universities, and I think a program in Guanajuato could easily be funded through initiatives from HSIs for their students. And a conversation that we will be having here in the Alliance is, how can the Alliance propose a program to be able to fund Alliance scholars to participate in these programs. So an exciting new program. I hope our students will take advantage of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Does anybody have any questions for Bill about this program? By the way? I don't know. Do you know how many students they expect to take in this first year?
So this is the new initiative, right? It's just going to begin in August. They think that they will have around 30 students per semester. I personally think, especially in the data science program, that they're going to get many applications. This is just simply exciting.
Let me ask you, Bill, could you tell a little bit about what kind of a credential this is in the other programs as far as going to graduate school and how that would help students?
Right. So I forgot to mention that. Thank you for bringing it up. So within 2 years, the program will be recognized by the University of Arizona, so that when you go to this program, your transcripts will actually come from the University of Arizona. We may not be able to get the proper documentation between Guanajuato and the University of Arizona in time for August. At that point, you will receive credit from Guanajuato that will count towards your undergraduate degree. But hopefully within a year after that, you will be working through the University of Arizona, so that when you request transcripts in the future, your transcripts would come from the University of Arizona and not from a foreign institution.
Yeah, I was just going to add, one of the things that we're always concerned about for our students is they have all the same opportunities as everybody else. And as Bill alluded to indirectly, the two programs in Europe demand extremely high levels of courses very early in your college career. And of course, many of our schools, nothing to do with minorities, but any four-year school, people where there's working class folks who have to work while they go into school, they just can't meet those standards. And so that tends to look not great when a student applies to a really good school and they should be getting into that school and they have tremendous grades. They say, oh, well, did you go to this program or did you go to that program? So this program, as Bill pointed out, is exactly designed to give you that kind of a credential at an expense that's a little bit more affordable, and also at a point in your career when you can still take advantage of it and get into a great graduate school. So that's what we do with all of our research experiences in the summer when you go to talk to those folks. All of this is about building the appropriate credentials for you so that you can go to first-class graduate programs.
And I'll just second that, is that I read a lot of applications because I'm the graduate chair in my department, and I get reviews of them from many faculty that also read them, and having one of these semesters in Budapest or semesters in Moscow, and now I'm sure the semester in Guanajuato is a very strong credential. When somebody says, look, this student went to this program, that carries a lot of weight with committees. So, other questions? So we finished a little early. That doesn't happen here very often. And don't get used to it. But so we'll take a little break, and the next panel will start here at